Oh, hello, Mrs. Murphy. Yeah. How are you doing today? What's that? Oh, your son said we've been plagued by a birdhouse bandit. Well, I'm not so sure there's really a birdhouse bandit operating in this region. We sometimes what happens is people don't mount their birdhouses very good, and as a result, they get a high wind and all the birdhouses blow away. That's sometimes what happens because they don't mount the birdhouse to begin with. Well, yes, your son's kind of echoing with some of the things that's been said in the newspapers here, but I don't put a lot of stock in that whole birdhouse bandit thing. I just don't think it'd be worth a fellow's time to go and steal birdhouses and resell them on the internet. I just don't think there's much weight to that whole theory there. I think people are just getting a little bit silly with this whole birdhouse bandit thing, I'd be honest with you. Well, no, ma'am, I wouldn't say you ever say your son's silly. I think he's just bought into some of the popular notions that are circulating around this town right now, and it's unfortunate. It's people want to jump to conclusions all the time. There's a birdhouse bandit when actually it's just high winds. Well, I would disagree with your son's meteorological assessment there. We've had some high winds recently that could have easily caused a lot of people's birdhouses to become dislodged and blow into the woods and into the street and be run over by big trucks and get shattered to a million pieces. Have I seen? Well, yes, indeed. I've seen your son. He hasn't gotten any friendlier recently. He looks like he's eating pretty well. I come to think of it. He once more strew his trash across the lawn instead of putting it in the proper receptacle. So I, being the good Samaritan that I am, went and cleaned up his refuse, and I couldn't help but notice that he's been buying a lot of candy bars recently. Well, yes, ma'am, he's still eating a lot of Oreo cookies. That's still something he hasn't given up. So it's not as if he substituted all those candy bars for Oreo cookies. He's eating both. Oh, well, that's just it, Mr. Murphy. He is getting a bit flabby around the waist, and if he has to go buy a whole new wardrobe, he's going to have trouble making those child support payments. Well, that's yes, ma'am, that little tramp who caused all those problems in the past is there, and maybe she could be eating some of them candy bars. I don't know, but she's maintained her girlish figure, and he is getting flabby. He's certainly getting flabby. You can tell he's going to have to buy larger size. Well, he's going to have to buy a whole new wardrobe. He keeps on eating the way he is, especially keeps eating all that sweet stuff. Well, yes, ma'am. He's, in addition to the Oreos, which he's never really even slowed down. In fact, he bought the bonus size package on that. They had them on sale over at the local store here, and he bought the large size. He's gone through them Oreo cookies pretty fast, and now he's added peppermint patties to go along with those Oreo cookies. Well, well, no, ma'am. He may not have ever eaten peppermint patties in front of his mother, but that does seem to be one of his preferred delicacies now. And that little tramp who caused all the problems in the past, she may be eating a peppermint patty here or there. I don't know, but there's a lot of peppermint patties, and she ain't getting all that flabby around the waist like your son is. So I think it's reasonable to conclude that he's eating the bulk of those peppermint patties. Well, yes, ma'am, you are correct about that. That is a treat that's usually purchased by women for the sake of their own consumption. But you know, he is drinking white wine, and that's also something that's usually purchased by women for themselves. And I think one could certainly make the case that peppermint patties complement white wine in quite well. You know what I mean? I've never seen a Baby Ruth package or a Butterfinger, Three Musketeers, something that most men would eat if they're going to be eating that kind of candy. Ma'am, he's been eating peppermint patties. Yes, ma'am. With the white wine. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I think a lot of people, a lot of parents, when they get that word from their child that maybe they're more interested in something other than the opposite sex, I think what's the first thing that comes across their mind is they're not going to have any grandchildren. Of course, you got that little granddaughter, and so that should cushion the blow a little bit. Well, yes, ma'am. If you're estranged from his former wife, then it would make it difficult to see your precious little granddaughter. I know, but oh, Miss Murphy, I'm gonna have to take this call. Okay, yeah. Oh, please. Yes, you give me a call back. All right. Okay, thank you. Universal Solutions, Steve Reynolds speaking. Oh, the mosquito tape. Oh, yes, ma'am. That's it looks just like duct tape, but because we don't, it's non-stigmatizing, so we make it to look exactly like duct tape. And people won't even know you're plagued by mosquitoes, and you just put a few strips on the trees, and to us it has the faint smell of glue, but to mosquitoes it smells like predators, and they'll stay far away from your yard. Well, they're reasonably priced, especially when you consider just how many trees a few strips are going to be able to cover. You can cover a solid acre for the cost of a month's cable television bill. It's well, I don't think that's unreasonable at all. When perhaps if you weren't on if you didn't have children who could be bitten by mosquitoes and contract West Nile virus and encephalitis and all those other deadly diseases spread by mosquitoes, then I can see why you want to save a few dollars if it's just yourself who's going to die to those at the hands of those mosquito disease infested. What's that, ma'am? That's right, ma'am. That is the price, and I want to say it's worth every penny if it saves just one human life, especially the life of a young person who has so much to look forward to in their whole life unfolding in front of them. To think of them, you heard about that little boy in Ohio who I'm sure you heard all about him, who died from a mosquito bite because of the terrible diseases that are spread by these vicious creatures. That's right, ma'am. And you think about the investment for the price of one cable television bill, 1 month's cable television bill. You are able to protect your whole family for the duration of the summer. Well, that's just it. It's not as if you bring over a mosquito fogger or something that's going to advertise to your neighbors that you're being plagued by insects. It's nothing like that at all. It's not going to look like you live in a swamp. It's just going to be a few little subtle strips that look just like duct tape. And you can even say, you don't want to tell them it's because keep out those disease-causing mosquitoes. You can say it's something else. You're just hanging up some children's artwork on the trees or something like that, or trying to secure your birdhouses, and that's why you got the duct tape up there. Oh, you're going to... Oh my goodness. Well, ma'am, I don't usually try to give anyone the hard sale, but if you're going to have your daughter's getting married in your backyard this year, oh, ma'am, it is imperative that you purchase some mosquito tape. It is imperative. It is, to think of somebody with their whole life in front of them just succumbing to a crippling disease that's potentially fatal, then it could have been 100% avoided for just the cost of 1 month cable television bill. I think if the worst should happen, I think that would be something that you would struggle with for the rest of your life. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yeah. Well, before you said your daughter's getting married in the right on your own property. Well, that's so nice. That's so romantic. When's this going to take place? Oh my goodness! I'm glad you said something. That's when the flies are at their very worst. Oh yes, ma'am. Do you know how many weddings have been ruined by flies? And there's just, at that time of year, that's when more species of flies germinate than any other time. Yes, ma'am. Yes, well, I'm glad you asked about that, because we do sell some fly tape, and it looks just like regular old masking tape. That's all it looks like, and people wouldn't even think, your guests won't even think that you got fly tape around. It's designed to look like that. It looks like regular old masking tape, and that way you're not advertising to the world that you have some sort of plague of house flies or fruit flies or black flies or something like that. You just have to have some subtly placed masking tape throughout the yard, and it'll keep those flies from eating the wedding cake. Well, yes, that's right, ma'am. And it's, well, how much is it? Well, ordinarily it would be roughly the cost of a 1 month cable television bill, but since you're also purchasing the mosquito tape, we can get you the fly tape at 50% off if you hurry in order before midnight tonight. Uh-huh. You got that major credit card? Oh, okay. All right, well, I'll give you a minute to look for it. So, okay, go get that. I'll be right here waiting for you. Okay. I'll be right back.